Alright, hello everyone. This has been the big topic of the day. Ever since the end of this game, everyone has been talking about it. What do you feel about the U.S. women's national team scoring 13 goals on Thailand? Now, this game, it was expected to be somewhat of a blowout. A lot of people were predicting 6+ goals, including the great Hope Solo, was expecting at least 6 goals from the national team. We were all expecting a big game, and the U.S. women's national team went out there and they did that. Now, people were saying different things of, oh, they were racking up the score for no reason, oh, the celebrations, so on and so forth. I'm going to give my thoughts on the game as a whole, how players did individually, and what I think the celebrations were. Were they over the top? Were they right? Were they too much? What did I think about the U.S. women's national team game as a whole? All right, so we're just going to start right at the top. We're going to get it out there. Becky Sauerbrunn, not in the starting lineup. I think this was a smart move by Coach Jill Ellis. Becky Sauerbrunn is obviously the heart and soul of our defense, but she's not at 100%, and we knew that this game could be a blowout, which it did end up being, and I'm glad we kept her out, get her fully healed so we can have her at 100% for later in the group stage and in the knockout stages, where we're really going to need her manning that back line and her at 100%. So that was a very smart move by Coach Jill Ellis. Now, it was very interesting to me to see how easily Julie Ertz was able to just slide in to that center back role again and just did absolutely fantastic back there, was active, and just did a fantastic job. It was very, very great to see our three midfielders, Sam Mewis, Rose Lavelle, and Lindsay Horan, all three making their World Cup debut, and they all did great things. We'll get even further into what they did individually later on. Now, up top, of course, we have ATM, Alex Morgan, Tobin Heath, and Megan Rapinoe, always going to perform. So let's just start with performances as a whole. Let's go from keeper up to the forwards. So at the keeper, we had, of course, Alyssa Nair. She did what she had to do today, keep the clean sheet, make sure she was focused and checked in, because there was 1 or 2 times that the ball got over to her, but she took care of it and got it out really quickly. So that's very good. She was keeping focus throughout the game, and those 2 times that they were back there, easy, simple, get it out. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our defenders. Our right back, Kelly O'Hara. I have no words for her performance today. Fantastic. She absolutely did amazing today. She killed it. That first assist on the first goal to Alex Morgan, that was a beautiful ball. Her and Tobin were like, who's going to take it, who's going to take it? And Kelly O'Hara said, you know what, this is my ball. I'm going to cross this in with some junction. And guess what? It led to a goal. Kelly O'Hara was playing very high up today on the field, which I loved to see. She was very active in the offense, and it was very, very good. I am a little bit concerned. She did take a hard knock in the second half, but I'm hoping that it'll just take a little bit of recovery and she'll be okay, because now that she's back at 100%, I tweeted this earlier, Kelly O'Hara at full health is loco. She is insane, and it was amazing to watch her play today. Next up, we got Abby Dahlkemper. Her long balls were great. It just is another added layer that we can add to our attack. It was fantastic to see Abby Dahlkemper out there and just absolutely giving beautiful long balls. And whenever the ball would get passed to the back there, she took care of business, did what she had to do. Next up, Julie Ertz. I talked about her a little bit earlier. Wow. For her to be able to just slot back into that center back role and just absolutely do amazing. I mean, I honestly think she is one of the most underrated players on the team. A lot of people forget her and just how vital her role is. She did amazing, and on set pieces, they were trying to get her involved, and I would not be surprised if we get a goal or two out of her during this World Cup. Next up, we have Crystal Dunn. I'm not going to lie, in the first half, Crystal Dunn was a little bit quiet for me. Wasn't really sure if she was just adjusting to getting into the feel of it, but she did come on a little bit slow, but she did a fantastic job in the second half. She was really getting more involved in the offense in the second half, and she did a fantastic job when she was in that position. Next, going on to our midfielders, Rose Lavelle. A World Cup debut to remember. Just absolutely brilliant. Her creativity is something that I think people forget about oftentimes, and then all of a sudden she's megging someone and everyone is going crazy. She is going to be a vital piece to the puzzle in this World Cup. Next, we have Lindsey Horan back at full strength after the quad injury. She did what she had to do. She is strong there in the center midfield, and she was really working well with our back line. When we had to bring that ball out, hey, let's get reset. She did what she had to do, and I believe she had the highest number of passes completed on the team. I think it was, I'm not sure the number, but it was much higher than the rest of the team. Next up, we have Sam Mewis. The Tower of Power. She was obviously one of the people that it was like, is she going to start? Is she not? But with the Becky Sauerbrunn little bit of a injury, but not really an injury, she was put in the starting 11, and she proved to all fans that Sam Mewis is someone to not be messed with. She will come out there and she will play her butt off, and she did just that in today's game. It was fantastic to see. Now moving on to the forwards, let's go start with Tobin Heath. I'm not going to lie, I was a little bit underwhelmed with Tobin Heath's performance today. She did well on set pieces. She did what she had to do. She put the ball in the right place and gave her teammates the opportunity to score on set pieces. But I think she's just doing a little bit too much when she's on the ball. We all know Tobin to be a trickster and being able to make defenders look silly. But she would make one defender look silly, and she just couldn't pass the ball off, and she would hold on to the ball for just a little bit too long. If she can just pass the ball off a little bit earlier, I think we'll be seeing even better performances from her. And I think she was also just warming back up, getting into the World Cup. I'll be excited to see how she plays in the next game, and I think she should have a much better game. Next up, let's go with Megan Rapinoe coming back and just absolutely killing it on the World Cup stage. That's what you expect from Megan Rapinoe at this point in her career. She's going to play with energy. She's going to play with fight, and she did just that. I think both her and Tobin Heath were having a little bit of trouble connecting on that final pass with whoever it would be, Alex Morgan or the midfielders. I think they were just having a little bit of trouble connecting that final pass, and I think if both of them can get that into check for the next game, it'll be unstoppable up top. And finally, Alex Morgan, the MVP of today's match. She did fantastic. I think a lot of people underestimate Alex Morgan, and they forget just everything that she can do. Let's not forget all of the hold-up play that Alex Morgan does. Yes, she's known for being a striker. She's known for scoring goals. But guess what? She assisted on 3 goals today. You cannot say that for most top quality strikers. They're not giving 3 assists in a game. I know, yes, it was a high scoring game, but still, a lot of strikers aren't giving assists, and she holds up play and just really creates space for her teammates. It is amazing to see, and I think people need to stop saying that Alex Morgan is overrated, because today she proved why she's not. All right. So let's get into the big controversy. This running up the score, this over-celebrating. Let's talk about it. I'm going to go goal by goal and talk about why I think the U.S. Women's National Team did what they had to do. All right, so let's talk about this running up the score business. The tiebreaker in the FIFA Women's World Cup is goal differential. If my team had the opportunity to keep scoring and keep playing at the most elite level, they're going to do that. It is, at the end of the day, part of the tournament. If the people that were running the tournament didn't want that to happen, they would cap the goal differential at a certain number. It'd be like, after this number of goals, it doesn't count towards the differential. But they don't do that because they want every team to be playing their hardest throughout the entire game. And I think the U.S. Women's National Team playing their hardest throughout the whole game showed respect to Thailand. It said, look, we believe that you, and it also showed respect to the rest of the teams in their group. They said, you guys are really good teams, and we don't know what's going to happen. Right now, we're playing really well against Thailand, so we want to, hey, get as much goal differential as we can to help ourselves. That is the spirit of the World Cup, in my opinion, is everybody wants to win the World Cup. So if we have the opportunity to, hey, almost guarantee a spot in the knockout rounds because of our goal differential, we're going to do it. All right, so let's go goal by goal now and talk about these over celebrations. First off, I don't know, is there a number where people are supposed to stop celebrating? Like, it's like, oh, you hit this number of goals and you cannot celebrate anymore. We will talk about that. I've never experienced, hey, we reached this number, we're not going to do anything. We're just going to walk back to our spots and restart the game. No. Like, you're going to want to celebrate with someone no matter what the stage is. Let's go goal by goal and talk about this. All right, first off, the first goal, Alex Morgan. I mean, come on. What do you want her to not celebrate? It's the first goal for the U.S. Women's National Team in the tournament. She was coming out of a slump. She hadn't scored in her last 3 international games. And hello, she goes assisted by a defender, Kelly O'Hara. First off, it's Kelly O'Hara. Who wouldn't want to celebrate with Kelly O'Hara? Second off, you're getting assisted by a defender. There are so many things in this first goal. Why not celebrate it? Then the second goal of the game, Rose Lavelle. It is her World Cup debut. It is her first ever World Cup goal. She's going to celebrate it. It's going to happen. And the third goal, Lindsay Horan. Another World Cup debutante, and it was also her first World Cup goal. She's going to celebrate it. Now, I think for the first 3 goals, people didn't have a problem with it. It was the first half. Everyone was like, oh, yes, it's fine. Let them do what they do. But it seemed like once the second half started and it started getting rough, I guess, people were like, oh, no, this is awful. But I'm going to tell you why every single one of these goals in the second half deserved to be celebrated. All right. Number 4, the fourth goal, Sam Mewis again. It's her first World Cup appearance, and it is her first World Cup goal. She deserves to celebrate that moment. Then the 5th goal, Alex Morgan. She gets a brace. Anytime you score a brace, you're excited. Now you're scoring a brace in the World Cup. That is insane. Let her celebrate that moment. Then the 6th goal, Sam Mewis again. Can you imagine you just scored your first goal in the World Cup and all of a sudden you're scoring a second goal? I mean, you gotta celebrate that. And if anyone is saying you shouldn't, I don't agree with that at all. Next up, the 7th goal was Rose Lavelle again. Another World Cup debutante getting a brace. Come on, let's give them a break. They deserve to celebrate this. The World Cup happens once every 4 years. This could be the only time they go to a World Cup. Let them celebrate. This could be the only time they ever score in a World Cup. Let them celebrate that moment. Next up, the 8th goal, Alex Morgan. Alex Morgan, that's her hat trick right there. Are you telling me that any time somebody scores a hat trick, they are not going to celebrate? No matter what the score is, I promise they're going to celebrate. It's a hat trick. You know how hard it is to score 1 goal in a game. you definitely know how hard it is to score 3 goals in a game. Let her celebrate that. Then the 9th goal, Megan Rapinoe. Yes, I get it. People were like, oh, this was the biggest celebration so far, going over to the bench. But if you really pay attention to women's soccer as a whole, she was celebrating with her right knee, which was the ACL that was torn up before the 2016 Olympics, which kind of prohibited her play in the 2016 Olympics. And it was her first major tournament back where she was really fully healthy, and she was celebrating that she can get a goal after that horrendous injury. Anyone should be able to celebrate that. Now, the 10th goal, Alex Morgan, it's her 4th goal of the game. Alex Morgan, as much as I love her, she has so many doubters and haters. After 4 goals, you just have to accept this greatness. And let me tell you something, her celebration on that 4th goal was not insane. She counted the number of goals she had, and her teammates came to her and gave her a hug. I think that is okay. I mean, imagine that. You just scored 4 goals in 1 game in the World Cup. Before this, Alex Morgan had 3 World Cup goals. She just outscored herself in 1 game. Give her that. Next up, we have the 11th goal, Mallory Pugh. Coming off the bench, it's her World Cup debut, and it's her first World Cup goal. Let her celebrate, and she went straight to the bench, gave him high fives, and guess what? She got back out on the pitch and was ready to play. The 12th goal, Alex Morgan. This is her 5th goal in the game. This is tying a record set by Michelle Akers in 1991. This is a 28-year-old record of number of goals in a game, and she's tying the great Michelle Akers. Let her celebrate 5 goals. That is an amazing feat, and obviously not very many people in the world can say they scored 5 goals in a game, let alone 5 goals in a World Cup game. Now finally, the 13th goal, Carly Lloyd. It was her 5th straight World Cup game that she scored a goal. That is a record set, I believe. It might have been a tie. I cannot remember off the top of my head, but she deserves to celebrate that. Carly Lloyd, we all know she has been in the news. She says she doesn't deserve to be coming off the bench, and she wanted to prove herself. She did. She got a goal. She tied or set a record on 5 straight World Cup games with a goal. Let her celebrate that. I know at that point it's 13 goals. It's the 89th minute. But at the end of the day, she has earned that right. It's a World Cup. Many of these girls have worked their whole life for this, and they are giving other girls the dream to do it too. They deserve to be celebrated, and they deserve to celebrate their goals. And that is just my opinion on that. If you think the problem is, oh, well, Thailand is not as good as an opponent, blah, 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 Thailand earned their way to the World Cup. They held Australia and made them go all the way to PKs in the semifinal of their qualifying tournament. They are a good team. Just today, the U.S. Women's National Team was much better. And if we want things to change, we have to pressure FIFA, pressure the Thailand Federation to give them better funding. If we want the game to become equal for all nations, we need to push FIFA and each federation to be investing in their women's programs. I don't want to have to say, oh, this team is still not getting the funding that they deserve, because I think every women's team in this World Cup deserves quite a bit of funding because they have done amazing things. That is my thought on that. And I think the U.S. Women's National Team did what they did, and I do not have a problem with it. If any other team was in that situation, I see them doing the same thing. That's that. This has been Woso Fan Take. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know down below what you think of the U.S. Women's National Team game today, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.